Hello guys, today we have another replay analysis. I played this game recently and it stuck with me because I felt like I shouldn't have won this game, so we're going to see what caused the win here. It was a very strange game because, we'll start off. So in the beginning, we have this guy over here who has a wrong spawn position. So he's supposed to spawn up here, and that way you have 4 on top and 4 players on bottom. So he's in the wrong spawn position and he has to walk over here. So, we're starting off on the wrong foot, but, you can play it normally. You just send some units here and pretend like the enemy doesn't notice, and most of the time they won't notice. So I think this is kind of bad, but also, like, you can kind of ignore it. You can just focus on your lane. It's not like a absolute deal breaker. That's why I kept playing, obviously. That's what I said in the game, like send some units mid and pretend we are normal. So I want to talk about what happens this game. So I want to focus mainly on these top 3, mostly these top 4, or top 6 players here, but mostly these top 4 players. So if you look at the skill rating, somehow both high skill rating players, me and this red guy, 31 and 32, were laned exactly against each other. The odds of that are like 1/8 or something. I don't know. It's like really low or something. Yeah. He's got a level 20-ish over here, and I've got a level 14, or TS 14. It's a little strange though because he decides to do a non-meta strat on Flats and Force. Flats and Force, everyone is supposed to front. You're not supposed to tech up early. He decides to go for T2 at 5 minutes, and somehow he gets it by 6 minutes, which is a little fast, right? Well, definitely fast for Flats and Forest, right? He somehow gets away with it this game, probably because I was able to hold for so long, and I make some decisions that help us hold for longer. But it's interesting how it was able to help secure the late game. This guy also goes for late game strats that are a little unconventional. Interestingly, this player also ecos over here, so it's just a weird game how some players decide not to do the meta, which is just a frontline. Meanwhile, me and Red here are just going to play more or less the meta. We're going to be full aggression in the center here. I thought about it in my head, so I'm going to pause for a moment. If I were laning against this player, though, if I was right here and I was fighting against him, I would think that his strategy would still lose just because massive aggression, generally speaking, should trump greed almost every game. If you think about it, if you go T2 first, you have to get your T2 engineer out, and then you have to build the first mass extractor, which costs, the T2 is what? 2,900. The T2 engineer is almost 500, and then the T2 max is like 600. So you're down like 4,000 metal almost before you start making a profit from your T2 switch. Maybe you can make an argument that your T2 units will trade better, but you're going to be so horribly outnumbered at that point that I think you will lose the front line. You'll definitely lose your commander. You'll definitely lose ground in the front here, just because you'll be 4,000 mass behind or metal behind on units, and I think that will cause a collapse. So that being said, that's on a one-on-one, right? Lane opponents. But when you have an ally that can cover for you, this might be I wouldn't say it's a meta strat. I would say it's a unconventional strat. It's unconventional meaning it's not the meta, it's not the best, but you can clearly make it work. In this video, just because you have a high skill player that can cover for you, you're able to get away with this. It's not recommended is what I say, but it can work is what it means. Every strat can work under the right circumstances. Okay, so actually I want to play from my view this game, and I will talk about it I will switch to all view in some key moments. So at the start of the game, I'm going vehicles, right? I have my standard opening or whatever, right? I have my engineer going out, I have my vehicle. I want to cover this because I don't want this getting sniped, right? He has a rover here. Now, an interesting property about rovers is that they're scouts. Same with ticks. They're scouts. They have greater vision range than these vehicles here. So if we're on 2 times speed here, I believe, notice how I have it covered, right? And then I move my boy. I don't notice it. He tags my engineer, but I only just see it now and hear it now. So then it's too late by the time this rover gets here. So I lose that, and then his guys show up here and I lose my engineer. So, you know, this early game start is not going well. The enemy opponent is high skill and he's taking advantage of his early game aggression. So, okay, at this moment, I've taken damage here. So my thought process is I have a clump of units here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blitzes here. Yeah, 7, right? Okay, and I'm thinking, okay, I just took a lot of damage here. I lost the mechs. I lost 3 mechs that were about to be built. I lost an engineer. That's basically like 8 metal per second that I'm losing. So I need to get some damage in right now. And I'm like, okay, we have the clump. Let's run in. Okay, let's slow down just for a moment. Up here, my ally is running towards this midline I put down. I want him to be in this area. Okay, we get the radar back up here so we can see the units are clumped here. So I'm thinking we're green lit to go. We just run on in. Unfortunately, my units path wrong here. We do get the engineer. We lose a guy down there. But I'm like thinking, okay, we have to commit because they're all over me. They're all around me. So I just keep committing, right? We did deny 1 mech there and an engineer, which is good so far. So I'm like, just keep going. Okay, we pick up another mech, so that's 2. Okay, that's good. Keep going. I see that there's a turret here from early game scouting, so I'm thinking, actually that's from my own view. I didn't know there was a turret here, so that was from turning off the player view, I believe. But we get the 3rd mechs anyways. It doesn't really matter. You go in, you get 3 mechs, right? So roughly equal damage in return, right? There is reclaim given to them, but it's just a lot of time, space created. Okay, so I got my engineer finally going back out as well. My units are now hitting the front line. My artillery is about to hit the front line, and I'm thinking, all right, this is going kind of bad, but okay, because we got damage in return. So this is more or less equal on my side versus the red player. So I'm kind of like happy because I'm like, oh, this artillery is going to hit the front line here. I am slightly unhappy because I wanted to get my turrets on this position beforehand. Unfortunately, I was a little too slow. I wanted my turrets here so that way I would be up this mechs and the enemy would not have these mechs, at least for the start. So I'm like gonna be aggressive with these artillery. I'm just gonna fight command up forward. Now, if you take a look here, I can't notice this because I'm playing, right? And I don't notice it, but my ally is going T2 at before 5, or like before 6 minutes, but he's gonna hit it at 6 minutes. I don't think this is right, but he's able to hold the front here just because this pink player is playing passively, which is why aggression is good. Okay, so we see the guy here. I believe he had a turret here, and I just degunned that so that I can start creeping up on him a little faster here. Yeah, there's a turret here. I'm like, now I'm gonna you like that, get my turret up first. He's AFK. He's doing other things, so he didn't notice me creeping up to do that. Now you gotta be careful. You don't want to get contrade this early, especially when you think you have the advantage, because I have my artillery already up. I have my turret creep going, and I am pushing him off these 2 mexes, which is what I want him to do. So I'm going to speed up slightly here. See, I will pause and actually turn back. Look how this player is just being very passive. There's no his rocket bot's not there yet. He's also passive. Once his rocket bot is here, I would think you would need to start immediately pressuring. Like, you should just give your You should give your opponents no quarter, is what I mean. Oh, test their defenses. Always test their defenses. Don't be content with sitting. He's content with sitting because he doesn't want to trigger the enemy to attack him. He wants to tech up. Unconventional strat, like I said, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so here I am turret creeping. I also am thinking, okay, maybe we can try another run by here. Just like poke around and see, okay, now we see too much, so we're gonna back off. My turrets are creeping. My artillery is creeping. We're getting him off this position. I'm like, that's good. Now we can move up here. But first, I want to get this max in the corner because I just want to secure this max, get like a turret or 2 here, and then go back down here. Actually, that's my thought process. Yeah, we have our soldiers here, or tanks in the front here, and the artillery in the back, and we can just send these guys up and down to deflect these movements. Oops, sorry, I'm just trying to remove that. Meanwhile, these guys just move up and fight command. Yeah, we got our 2 turrets up here that's covering our back mechs here, and then we're gonna try to move down here. Yep, he's going down right now. Let's check in at the base. So he's gone T2, right? He's finally gotten his first mechs up. But that means he's still way, way, way down. If you look at the army count, like, I mean, just look at how many dots are here versus how many dots are over here. Like, this, if this was focused up here entirely, this guy, unfortunately, would die. That's what I would think in my, like, mental simulations. If you were to imagine myself with my army count fighting Lums here, you would also see that it wouldn't be too great. I also have the unit variety to enable me to push down towers here. So this front would collapse if he were to take aggression. So greed can pay off, but it's literally what it says it is. It's greed. It's greed. It's dangerous. It's risky. It pays off in the late game, but it's so risky in the early game. If these guys had focused up here instead of me, this front would have collapsed. We would have lost these two mexes back here, and my front would have been forced to go back here, allowing his anti-turret options to move in and take out this position. So it could have caused a chain collapse, is what I'm saying. I'm just harping about how this opening is very greedy. It's not the meta, but it can work, and I'll show you how it works here in a little bit here. So actually, I'll talk about it. He needs, it becomes profitable after like a couple minutes. After a couple of minutes, these mexes are more valuable, you're ahead in mass income than if you had stayed T1. So there is like a timing where this becomes actually the better. I don't know. I'm mixing up all my words here. I'm sorry, but there is a time when this becomes more efficient, or like it pays itself all. That's what I'm trying to get at here. All right, let's just focus on the front line here, because that's what you're here for. So I had moved my units here. I had a whole clump of units, so I was thinking, like, let's try another run by here. I think watching back on this replay, considering that I get two guys aggression on me, I should have just kept these guys as defense here. But I tried to get a run by here, and it does a little bit of damage, but so yeah. Okay, my ally sends his few runs here, so it's completely open here. Few grunts in to cover me just for a little bit. These guys just get destroyed. This guy goes in, he gets a mex here, and I think he gets one more mex back here, and then he's eliminated. So that's just two mexes for like eight-ish units, which is okay, but not great at this stage when I'm taking two guys here. Okay. I mean, look at this. We got the aggression of two guys here. We got all these anti-turrets up here. These aggravator rocket bots. They're gonna take down my turrets. I've already lost two, so I need to send my units up here and get them soon. I'm trying to leverage these T1 RDs though. Just like I have like 5 of them or so, 4 or 5, and I just want to pelt them. But I'm noticing that my opponent also is doing the same, so I'm actually getting kind of concerned because I'm running out of frontline units here, and now my artillery are taking hits, and I'm like not happy about that. But we keep at the strategy for a little bit. But I tell you, it's not looking good for me. In this situation, I'm feeling like really pressured. Like, I mean, just look at how many things were just hitting me right there. There's so many things. Now, this movement here by me was good because I take out a couple of these rocket bots, which are very important to take out. You want to take out the anti-static options. That's how your turrets are able to stay in the field for longer. That's how you're able to hold the ground. And so, okay, now my next wave of like artillery had hit the field, and so now we're refreshed. We have reinforcements by myself here. This is what I said. Look, this position was just completely taken out. Like he has nothing to defend. Like he's behind on the soldier count because he had ecoed, right? His force, like reinforcement units are finally coming over. It's just like a miracle that this pink player had like focused entirely on me. If he just kept going like this, I think he would have broken this position, and then I would be an isolated island here, and that would not be good. Yeah, I will say it is good that he is responding and trying to help me out here, right? My turrets at the back have to cover for me here. Turret creep is good because it covers your back as well. Okay, I actually wanted to talk about this. Hold on, shoot. I'm just noticing it now in the replay. But earlier, just like a minute ago, I found that when I was moving my units up here to take out the aggravators, they had scouted this factory here. You know what I say in like most of my videos? I don't like forward bases. I think they're bad. So here's what happened. I realized a forward base is worth 700 metal, actually. A commander is worth 2,000, right? Well, the body is. I also noticed, actually, that there is a lot of reclaim over here, like almost 2,000 if you take everything into 2,000 if you take everything into consideration. But like specifically in this area, right in front of his turrets, there is like 1,000, almost 1,200. So if you actually calculate the combined mass of the reclaim here, 1,200 plus 700, that's almost the cost of a commander, right? And then if you get a good trade and you explode and destroy his army, that's actually great value. So if you count here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units, and I am actually able to take them all out with this commander just by running him in. So this is where I guess I'm going to make a thumbnail for this video. This commander is actually a very important weapon for you. Where's my print screen here? Yeah, print screen. Yeah. Your commander is a very important tool to you. Using your commander, I think this is an underlooked at strategy. Like, your commander is a tool. Like, you use it to turret creep, but you can also use it to push or to stall for time, because I'm taking so much aggression here, and I want to take out this player. I'm going to turn off the view here for just a moment, and I want to take a look here just before the explosion. If you look, his army value is a little less than mine, but combined, it's like greater than me. So I'm in like a slightly losing position already, right? And if I let this play out, it's just not going to get any better for me over time, because I'm just going to be completely behind for longer and longer. He's going to get this plus 1,000 reclaim for free. I can't contest it. My engineers cannot get up there. I'm really struggling because on vehicles, I don't have res bots just yet. I can't get my res bots over here. So I decide I need to relieve pressure somehow. So I'm going to take a gamble here. All right, we'll play it really slowly so you can see the explosion. So 1, 2, 3. Actually, there was 7 units here. And we actually take one. Oh my god, this is so... Let me clear the explosion here. We actually take out 2 mexes and a turret, and I think a solar panel here. So the value that I destroyed there is actually greater than 2,000. When you take into account the vehicle factory, the reclaim, the units, and the mexes, and the time it takes to rebuild those mexes, and the solar panel that I think was here. So now if you look at it, if you were to just look at Red's position, I would be actually winning against Red here in this situation if I was just alone versus Red. Now that allows me to focus on this area here. Well, I do want to try to contest for this, but unfortunately I lose that battle, but you know, it is what it is. He has to rebuild a forward vehicle plant. He did have one at the back. I don't know why he didn't just eat this one, but it's still 700 he's down from losing the vehicle factory. Look, there's no reclaim from that. The reclaim here is actually still about the same. Well, maybe a little greater, but the damage he took is a lot. Ooh, I gotta turn that off, sorry. Sorry, let me go back to my player view here. Yeah, unfortunately we start losing because Pink's army is here. For a moment, if you had seen, my army was actually greater than the Red's army here, so, you know, whatever. I also start complaining to my ally. Communication is key, guys, so I want this guy to participate. Like, we really need to contest this reclaim field. There is 5,000, 6,000 here, 7,000 actually, if I recall. Ooh, I gotta go back to my view, sorry. I'm sorry this is so, like, messy here, but there's a lot of things happening, and I'm a little scatterbrained here. Yeah. So I start seeing him using his sheldons, so his T2 is finally starting to pay off after, like, 12 minutes, right? He has army presence, finally, but it's not, like, a couple sheldons isn't that much, so I know that we're about to lose. I'm complaining. I mean, it just looks really bad. Like, they have all this ground. They have all this reclaim. They're pushing down our towers. It's not looking good. So this is where the next thing that I want to talk about comes in. When you're behind, you actually want to micro like a madman. You want to take excellent trades. That's how you're able to slow the enemy for longer and hopefully turn the tides if you take excellent trades. And it just so happens that my ally built the best unit in the game for taking good trades. So I'm like, I need these units. So I tell him I want your units, basically, and I get it from him. I will be able to get it in here. So, like, we're losing this. Okay. I do want to mention another thing I noticed in this replay is he is reclaiming, right? But in just a few moments, he will flood his bank, and he's not able to actually spend it. So I actually want to turn off my player view here. Yeah. Just want to turn off my player view. He's about to hit max cap, but he doesn't actually increase his production all that much. So in other words, he's not actually making use of the reclaim that he's getting. I'm also able to get a little bit of the reclaim here, just because the field is just so big now. I guess that happens when it's double vehicles and nobody has res bots for a while. Okay, we're gonna 2x speed. We're still fighting. Yeah, if I recall, he just he comes in and then he moves back like this, and I'm like, yeah, he just leaves it there. So they're not actually engaged and they're not getting value, so I want those units so I can micro them. Yeah, give me your units, let me micro. So he starts giving me his units from now on. And from, yeah, if I recall, I'm just trying to fight him off these positions, trying to get the reclaim. I finally get the sheldons, and now it's time to take monster good trades. My ally is finally online. Basically, his economy is now catching up, it's paid for itself, and now we're going to be an advantage as well, because now we can start taking monster good trades and whittle them down here. If I recall, I thought he had a T2 here, but he stopped it for some reason. Yeah, every time I see that these units are not fighting or not firing, I send them in closer. Every time I see the enemies move up, I just send them back. And these guys are always going to maintain, the soldiers are going to maintain about this much distance between the front line and the back line. So I have them queued, these sheldons to 2 and the radar bot to 2, and all the frontliners to 1. So 2 goes here, or 2 goes here, number 2 goes here, 1 goes here. And that way you just keep moving it back and forth and you just whittle them down like crazy. Yeah, try to keep the sheldons always firing here. Only move back when I see them moving back, and I just chase them if they start running back here. Bad micro by me here for a moment. Probably doing something at base, but I bring them back in. Okay, I want to mention that the green player is also going air now. I haven't been able to pay attention to this bottom half, but it's been mostly stable, and I'm guessing he's able to tech switch. It does look like he was T2, so either he got it from the player up here or he built it himself. I believe, yeah, he built it himself. Because it was more static down here. It's not as aggressive up here, I would think. Yeah, so we just keep microing. I mean, this unit army is just greater than what I have, but with the sheldons from the player up here, I'm able to get the good trades now. We keep microing them. We just micro like a madman when you're behind on the position. Our defensive line was broken, so now you just micro like a madman. Just keep microing. Yep, just keep microing. Green is also coming in and taking some of the heat from red from me here as well. So good stuff. I mean, if you just look at this 7-4, 5-4, these guys are getting great trades here. Micro like a madman when you're behind, guys. Although I guess it's just more of a showcase for how strong the Sheldon is. Okay, the green player has been able to get damage on him. If I recall, he destroys most of these bases. He cuts their income in half. But for the time being, you can see how these guys were not able to close the game. They weren't able to get to the base and destroy it. You can lose your defensive position, but if you micro like a madman, you can prevent them from getting to your base. Yeah, these poor guys, they're not important anymore to me because I have the Sheldons from my ally. Okay, I also want to say, I moved my units in front of these army here, but I noticed that he has these Mausers, these T2 artillery here, so I know it's not good to stand still, so I decided to fully commit to the movement and just run on top of this position, on top of the artillery, because they can't really fight back there. That's what I do here. So I decide, okay, these guys are just gonna try to run in, and it confuses the arties. It forces the red to panic and run back, which I don't think is the right choice. I think when you have these T2, it's not always true, but in that situation, I felt like he could have kept firing, but it causes him to run back, and that means I just chase. And that gives me the reclaim. I finally have my reclaim bots, and now I'm gonna be rich. And now this game is turned. Completely turned into my favor, and now I can just roll in and wipe his forward base that he's rebuilt multiple times. Like, come on, guys. I know his backline got ravaged, but you know, for the middle game here, when the units were still fighting, the micro from the sheldons, etc., is how you bring it back, I guess. Yeah, like 10, 7. This is all, of course, because this guy went T2 here. If this guy was fronting with me, it might have been a little different. A lot different, probably. But I'll review at the end. There's a couple things I found so interesting in this replay. A little bit of bad micro for me. You know, I just run them in here, but it was fine in the end. Yeah, I'm just getting so rich from the, I got so rich from the reclaim that was like here, that I was finally able to get to T2 after 20 minutes, and now I have my own T2 tanks coming out, and that's gonna help me crush them, because now we have 2 T2 players and their bases were hit by green. And I'm still getting all the reclaim now. I am definitely power stalling. That seems to be a trend for my games. But that means I just have 12,000 in power production, so it's still like a lot of production. Alright, and now we just start wiping. And I will speed up just until this is over, I guess. Once we like take out these bases, it's pretty clear we won, and I will review the game. And I'll talk about why I decided this was like a good game to analyze here. Yeah, it was mostly static along these lines down here. They actually broke through right at the end here, but I had already broken through much earlier here. And I had enough of a clump of units to keep fighting. Yeah, and my units are finally just spamming through here. So I just keep going like this, and that's how we're able to close the game. Oh, funny thing, this nuke is able to fire before my units get there, and he destroys this entire base. I saw the commander and I tried to micro out of it, but it wasn't enough for the enemies to take me out here. My allies is also here to cover. Yeah, this nuke is able to fire. A little funny. Yeah, he fires that. Unfortunately, I didn't notice. My ally didn't notice either. But it was able to get a shot off, and then it gets destroyed. Yeah, it's destroyed now. Poor guy over here. Rip indeed. Okay, but you can see that we're eating like this, and it's mostly like defending here. They do break through here, but I just completely go all the way up to here, and I just eliminate the field here. So I will want to talk about why I decided this replay was good. Okay, one is the comm strats. The comm, okay? The comm explosion is a tool that people don't consider all that often. And that's for the forward. This is so bad when I do this. Okay, the forward base, okay? The forward base, they're so vulnerable to comm explosions. If you just run your comm in, that entire base goes down and you get 700 guaranteed damage because the enemy put 700 into that vehicle factory at the front. Okay, that is mega value. You also deny the reclaim. Yeah, this is so bad. You deny the reclaim, right? So there was like 1,000 reclaim right in front of the factory, right? And the comm explosion just blew it all up, and so the reclaim disappeared. Now I did leave 2,000 behind, but I did over 2,000 damage in the factory, in the reclaim destruction, which is denying mass to the enemy, and in destroying mexes and destroying units. That was over 2,000 in metal value there. Helped me hold the line because I was about to collapse. I didn't have enough units to deal with 2 whole armies that outnumbered me roughly 2 to 1. Okay, so that was one thing. Second thing is that you have defense. This is so bad. I don't know if I should keep. I did this in like my first video where I made like a checklist at the end, but I don't know. When defense broken. Oh my god. Come on. This is so buggy. Yeah, so when your defense is broken, you micro and trade. Okay, what that means is you just try to get good trades and you slow them down as much as possible. You don't have defensive structures to rely on, so you have entirely your units to rely on. And in that case, you want to rely on your units as defense. And to make your units be better defenders, you have to micro them. Fortunately, this guy went T2. So another reason why, fortunately for the defense case, he went T2. But unfortunately for the early game, he went T2. So that's the third reason I wanted to cover this video, is that T2 early equals greed. It is very greedy. It was very risky. We were very close to losing multiple times. You could clearly see how like back and forth it was, and how like many times it seemed like I was in like a really bad position where I did not have the reclaim. T2 is just greed. It is literally greed. It is risk. It is literally risk, which means that it is exactly what it sounds like. It is risky. So these were like the 3 main things that I found to be interesting about this replay, and why I wanted to analyze it as a frontline replay analysis. So there were just these strange things that I noticed, these patterns that I noticed that were really important, I think, for this game to win. Also, this guy went air, AA, another big thing. I guess that's the 4th one. You always build AA. I mean, right now I have AA. I went T2 and I got my AA finally. But that was a major vulnerability for a long time. I did not have AA because I was so close in this battle here. I think I did have some other AA here, but I'm not sure. Nah, I only went T2, so I did go slack on my AA here. So 4 things you can put on the list for important things to cover here. All right. Hopefully this was decently entertaining and informative. Thank you for watching, and sorry for like my mispronunciation and poor like speech, I guess. I don't know. Happens when you're like thinking about a billion things all the time. All right. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.